Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Alexander Yakovlev to defeat Zach Cummings. And I really hope they fought. Albert Duraev is 16 and 4, 30 years old, or 34 years old, and he's got 1 inch of height and 2 inches of reach over 32-year-old Jun Park, who is 16 and 5. Nearly identical records. Park, he's got 10 finishes in his 16 wins, 5 by knockout, 5 by submission, and of course 6 decisions. He's a guy whose grappling I underestimated coming into the UFC, but now I certainly it has my respect. He may not be the overall best grappler, but he's shown it's an option for him at the UFC level, even if he's taken out some weaker grapplers like Dennis Tiuliulin. But he also got Joseph Holmes out of there. Joseph Holmes, I think he's a black belt, but either way, Jun Park was all over him. His 5 losses come 1 by knockout, 2 by submission, and 2 by decision. The 1 knockout loss is the Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, who knocked him out after almost being knocked out a few seconds before that. He had some zombie-like Chris Lieben moment, and he got Jun Park out of there. Fluffy Hernandez beat him, I think, in his debut with an anaconda choke. Anthony Fluffy Hernandez is a fucking monster on the ground, and if he can get you down there, if he can win the wrestling battle, his jiu-jitsu is going to be a problem. And Shavkat Rakhmonov is the other guy to finish him. Got him out of there with a rear naked choke in round 2. That was before he got to the UFC, and needless to say, there's no shame in that. He's picked up some solid wins in the UFC, Jun Park. He, of course, he did get the 2 submission wins recently over Joseph Holmes and Dennis Tiuliulin, both rear naked chokes. He also beat Ray Cooper, who is the PFL's Robbie Lawler. He beat him by anaconda choke in round 1. And he beat some good fighters inside the UFC by decision. Marc-Andre Barrio, John Phillips, Stefan Nchukwi, Eric Anders. All right, maybe just Marc-Andre Barrio and Eric Anders are the only real good fighters there. But still, Jun Park has shown that he's not bottom of the barrel at all. And he's decent everywhere. Heavy on top, decent everywhere. He can really crack on the feet. And, just an overall jack of all trades. Really good fighter, Jun Park. Albert Duraev is a guy that might take away some of those advantages, though. Jun Park, he's a really good top-game grappler. That's where he does his best work. He doesn't want to be on his back throwing triangles from the guard. Duraev is a guy that will take away that grappling, I think. Albert Duraev is a wrestler and a really good overall grappler. Going to be difficult to out-wrestle, but he also leaves some other openings. Duraev is vulnerable on the feet. He's got a weaker chin than most. Duraev, he's got 16 wins, 12 finishes, 3 by knockout, 9 by submission, and he just won 4 decisions. And his 4 losses all come via knockout or TKO. Joaquin Buckley got him out of there in the last loss. That was a second-round doctor stoppage. His chin didn't fail him there, but Buckley was beating him up. Anatoly Tokov and Ramazan Amiev, former UFC fighter. Those are 2 very good fighters, and they both knocked him unconscious. He was knocked unconscious. Tokov got him out of there on the ground, and so did Amiev, but I cracked him on the feet with a knee or whatever. I don't know. I just watched it a few days ago. But his chin has failed him. And then this other loss, this guy Evgeny, I wasn't able to see, this Ukrainian guy named Evgeny, but it's a knockout, I believe. I don't trust his chin, Albert Duraev. I just don't. I think the majority of his losses moving forward will be by knockout. He's not always going to get knocked out. He's shown he can scratch and claw with some really dangerous fighters like Chidi Njokuani and Roman Kopylov. He got decisions over both those guys, even though the Chidi fight was close. And Kopylov, even though he beat the shit out of Kopylov was able to survive and looked, good in round 3 after almost getting killed. But Duraev, he's a guy that doesn't need to get the fight to the ground to look good, but in most cases, that's where he wants to be. And not only that, but it takes away his primary weakness, which is his chin. He's gotten some other solid wins before he got to the UFC. Kyle Bittencourt in the Contender Series. Clifford Starks, former UFC fighter. He rear naked choked those guys. This guy, Ustar Magomedov Gaji, Gaji Dadov, he rear naked choked him in round 5. Duraev, if he didn't have a weak chin, he would be a very, very good fighter. I mean, he's still a very good fighter, but, those extra verys, you need the chin for that. But here in this fight, I'm picking Duraev. I think he's a guy that, despite his bad chin and his subpar striking, he's got the wrestling that's going to take away Jun Yong Park's primary strength. And on the feet, I think Duraev is faster and more athletic. I think he's sharper in a lot of ways. And he also does hit hard. But Jun Yong Park will put him away if he stands and bangs with Jun Yong Park. Duraev's also the bigger guy, got the 2 inches of reach. He's got to use that with his athleticism to keep himself safe here. He can't get into a firefight with Jun Yong Park, because even if he's got more firepower, he doesn't have the chin. Jun Yong Park will win that battle. But I'm picking Duraev. I think Duraev will be able to mix in takedowns, take Jun Yong Park off his feet, and at the very least, if things are going well for him, he'll take away Jun Yong Park's ability to do the same. Both these guys like to mix it up, and I think one guy's going to stop the other guy from doing so. On that alone, I'm picking Duraev, and I'm certainly betting on him. I think if he won, it would be by decision, and I have played that at plus 300, but I've also played his money line because the prop bets weren't always available. That was at 130. And I will absolutely bet on Jun Yong Park winning by knockout. I didn't write down the prop bets, but I will bet on that to hedge, the Duraev victory. I think Jun Yong Park, he could win any different way against most fighters. But in this fight here, I think his overwhelming path to victory is a knockout. And of course, Duraev's never lost any other way. Even though, again, he wasn't unconscious in the Buckley fight, but still, he was beaten up there, and his chins failed him against other guys where it's definitely a doubt moving forward. So that's how I see this fight. Gun to my head, though, forced to go with a prediction. I'm going with Albert Duraev. I'm guessing his chin survives. He keeps himself safe on the feet with athleticism and reach, and takes away Jun Yong Park's wrestling ability and also mixes in his own wrestling. I'm picking him to win the hustle. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit. Check out my other videos.